Honda Indy Toronto is underway, and Felix Rosenqvist was not going to expose himself to any competition and challenge. He took off from Scott McLaughlin.
And look at Scott Dixon making big progress down the inside. He's up into, I believe, 4th place now. Great start. It was a huge jump, though, from the pole sitter Christian Lundgaard. 5th for Dixon. Sorry, side by side behind, but a caution's already out.
Damage at the back. Somebody came together. Oh, more than somebody. Look how many cars have come together. And Graham Rahal is saying, I don't want any part of this. He's going to try and go through the Prince's Gate and around.
Clever move.
This
Benjamin Peterson involved. Santino Ferrucci also. And look at Graham Rahal.
What you're doing here. Good job. Let's go through the gate.
This is what 16 years of experience at Toronto can do for you. Let's see if we can take a look. You see Hunter Ray is 3 wide, and the red and white car of Devlin DeFrancesco, I believe, got into the back of Ryan Hunter-Reay, who was in the middle of Jack Harvey.
It looked more to me like Jack Harvey got a little bit wide, pushed Ryan Hunter-Reay into, it was Tom Blomqvist who was all the way on the outside of that 3-wide situation. Jack would have no idea there were 2 cars outside of him when he got into the side of the 20. Here's on board from Rossi.
Yeah, so if we see the long shot again, you'll see the back of Hunter-Reay's car got hit by DeFrancesco. You might see it here. On board with Graham Rahal.
So Rahal just noses into Benjamin Peterson, but was able to keep his Honda rolling. And look at this. Man, that's heads up.
That was so fast to engage reverse. He already had that plan in place. He had to watch out for the AMR safety trucks coming up behind him. This is a pretty atypical scene here in turn 1 at an IndyCar race, but very heads up from Graham Rahal.
Let's see that green flag here in Toronto. Let's go back to racing.
Just like on the start, Lundgaard with a terrific jump. They all fan out. About 3 or 4 car lengths between the top 5 cars as McLaughlin has a big wiggle coming out of turn 2. And I think Pato O'Ward might get a little bit of a run as they come down to turn 3.
I want to welcome everybody watching the NASCAR coverage from New Hampshire here to the sunny streets of Toronto. Challenge here, the pink car, Kyle Kirkwood on the inside of Felix Rosenqvist. They go wheel to wheel, but he closes the door. Nice move, Kirkwood. He's up to 6th.
We saw Felix doing that move in practice. Now Will Power trying to capitalize and make a move into 5. Not going to happen. Behind them, the Andretti Autosport teammates, Romain Grosjean and Colton Herta were side by side through 3. A lot of action on this first lap of the restart, but all Lundgaard out front.
So you can see McLaughlin struggling to hold pace a bit with Lundgaard, but I don't think that's going to last for long. I know we've had a lot of yellow laps, but those green tires will start to dissipate grip very quickly, and I think McLaughlin will be on the charge in about 3 or 4 more laps.
Bright blue and yellow car that you might have seen and said, what's that? I don't recognize that color scheme. That is the Journey Rewards car of championship leader Alex Palou. We ride on board with thanks to AutoNation. This is Kyle Kirkwood. Have a listen. Enjoy the ride. Inside is Palou on Romain Grosjean. They touch.
Oh, careful, Palou. Careful. He's going to have another move from Colton Herta. Colton knows that Palou is leading the championship, and he can get very aggressive in the brake zone. We talked to Alex Palou before the race, and James, he said it, I know I have to be careful. I've got a great lead. Don't do anything silly.
But he wants more points. He'd already gotten around Colton Herta, so that's actually Colton getting that position back, as both have had failing attempts at trying to get around Romain Grosjean.
That's Callum Ilott a little further back working on Helio Castro Neves. So it's Lundgaard with almost a 2-second lead over Scott McLaughlin. Then Pato O'Ward, Marcus Ericsson, Scott Dixon, the top 5. There's Joseph Newgarden in the snap-on Chevy, just ahead of this man, Romain Grosjean.
Here comes Colton Herta on his teammate.
Whoa, very aggressively out of the draft.
Romain tried to go and defend, but Colton just beat him to the punch, got to the inside for turn 3.
He's on the move.
And an easy one done. Grosjean deciding not to try to hang it around the outside, position up for Colton Herta. He's on the move for sure. Up now to 11th from his 14th starting place. see Kyle Kirkwood in the Outer Nation Honda, Kev.
And that yellow really helped things out. What I was being told, those starting on the alternates really wanted to get to lap 17 or so, then there's no fuel save the rest of the way. It's Shell fuel and primary Firestone for Kyle Kirkwood and back out.
I think Kyle likes his chances today. He's feeling good with this 27 Auto Nation Honda. There he goes there in the background. You see Joseph Newgarden as well.
See Rosenquist, who just pitted, so they're on the same strategy. Rosenquist on hot tires, and this is a time to get up in the seat and see if you can make a move on Kyle Kirkwood while he's on his outlap.
I don't see the overtake being used on Felix Rosenquist, which is a bit of a surprise because you definitely want to try to clear that car as quickly as possible. Likewise, it's, you know, Kirkwood needs to keep him back, but we see the leader, Christian Lundgaard, is in the pits, Kevin.
Job one done. Maintain the advantage through the first stint. In fact, he gapped by about 4 seconds. Now, he did have the tire advantage, so the race might be decided during this stint. This will be a long ring going to the primary Firestones, Shell Fuel, and the number 45, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Vivid Clear car is back out.
Well, this Honda Indy Toronto was decided on the first stop last year. The battle between Colton Herta and Scott Dixon. Dixon coming out on top in that regard.
I'll tell you what's not great for Christian Lundgaard is that track position that he has come out to. He's blended in behind a few cars. You see one of the JHR cars behind Helio Castroneves there. He needs clean air and fast laps right now. McLaughlin out front has nothing but clean air. And yeah, Award, like we were saying, behind, still on those alternates and able to keep up with McLaughlin, so they don't seem to be falling off as aggressively for some of these cars, but other drivers keen to get in and get them off.
McLaughlin in the Gallagher Insurance Chevy has a monstrous gap ahead of him of clear track. Dylan is there. Here is Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, and he does stay out a lap longer than Lundgaard on the alternates. He'll take those off, put the primary Firestones on. Will Anderson, the engineer, was asking him if he could stay out a couple more laps. They wanted to go a little bit longer, but Pato wanted to come in and get the alternates off, so he'll go to the primaries for his first stint on those.
So that's the first that started on the primaries, trying to go long. I'm expecting the other leaders in around 3 laps or so. Probably Rahal off sequence by about lap 40 or 41. So the alternates are going to be the plan next. Everyone told me that you want to get that alternate run out of the way if you haven't run them yet. Probably be the only time we see him again, unless you end up with a really short stint somehow to finish the race.
And it was a big whack of front wing added to Romain Grosjean's car, so that's moving the front flaps on the front wing up, trying to add some aerodynamic downforce to the front of the car, give him more front grip.
But they brought Romain Grosjean out into a really nice gap of clean air. That's what you want if you're going to short stint those greens. You want clean air to take advantage of the speed that they can offer for maybe only 10 or 12 laps.
Here comes the Gainbridge Honda, Kevin. Colton Herta.
And we knew he'd be fast. How quickly could he get close to the front? Not all the way, because too many were on the same strategy. So this next stint is going to be their softer stint. The alternates, the green sidewalls. They want this to be as short as they can. He's a couple laps earlier than some. This is a very advantageous pit stall, and even better than last year. Last year, pit out, had to make a hard right turn. Now it's just a straight exit for Colton Herta in the Gainbridge car.
So he was just ahead of his teammate Romain Grosjean as Colton Herta comes out. There goes Grosjean out of the final corner. So Herta comfortably down and away on the soft compound as well. And I thought I saw the number 3 team of Scott McLaughlin starting to get ready on pit lane.
Augustine Canapino defends from Graham Rahal, and Rosenquist is still stuck behind Rahal as well. They're all fighting, scrapping a little further back. You're talking about 12th, 13th, 14th. Joseph Newgarden hasn't been able to do anything. Let's go to the other end of the field. Up front, it's the teammates, Marcus Ericsson and Scott Dixon. Sit second and third. They're some 6.5 seconds behind race leader Scott McLaughlin. Here we go, Newgarden on Rosenquist, got one done. Now he's after Rahal. One of the Juncos Hollinger cars comes in.
Canapino's in, credit to him, running 12th when he pitted right behind his teammate, Callum Ilott. Strong drive so far from the Argentinian.
So the distance between McLaughlin and Lundgaard was as high as 17.8 seconds, almost 18 seconds. But again, as the boys told you earlier, it's about a 23-second pit lane delta. So McLaughlin never had enough of an advantage to stop and then get back out ahead of Lundgaard. So here is the Gallagher Insurance Chevy and McLaughlin's first stop of the day.
So he did a great job of creating a gap with Marcus Ericsson, left him, but not enough compared to Christian Lundgaard. I think he's probably going to come out about, what, 5 to 7, maybe 8 seconds behind Lundgaard, with around 21 to 23 seconds lost on pit lane. McLaughlin back out. He is going to do the alternates, Firestone's shell fuel for this stop.
In the beginning, and a big crash for Romain Grosjean.
Oh no, look at the skid marks in the background. That's huge.
That's turn 10.
That is big.
Look at the way the wall has V'd as well right here. Something broke earlier, I think. I mean, that was weird.
Far from done here in Toronto. Tell us more, Kev.
Well, the original thought was people were going to stay out, and then it's, all right, we see some people pitting, and you're hearing calls like, if they go in front of you, go ahead and pit. There's Kyle Kirkwood that we see coming around. There's Alex Palou in the Journey Rewards livery for the number 10. Colton Herta is going to come in all the way and pit out, so it is very mixed up. Kirkwood is the first to get away from that. Then it's Herta, and then Palou is just going to barely beat out Felix Rosenqvist, and Herta will chase that group.
I like this strategy here. I'm surprised that more people didn't come to pit lane, because last year the exact same thing happened. Everybody pitted on lap 46 and made it to the end. However, there were 2 more yellows to complete the race. So these guys will all need yellow to help them make it to the end.
And the leaders all want green at this point.
And if a yellow happens on a restart, which is always possible at Toronto with the amount of marbles on the track, all the front-running cars are way out of luck.
We are under this caution because of a crash suffered by the DHL Honda Romain Grosjean. Kevin Lee, it was not pretty. What did he say on the radio?
You referenced it, Diff. He thinks something went awry, and he's not sure. Let's listen.
Man, c'est pas vrai. I lost the steering wheel from my hands again. I don't know what's going on. Again.
Lost the wheel from my hands again. I don't know what's going on. Remember when he had back-to-back runner-ups? Since then, nothing better than 13th, and most are in the 20s. It has been a rough stretch.
All right, green car at the front, green flag about to be waved to get going again, and it is waved. Let's go. Christian Lundgaard at the front of this field.
And Diff, I think Lundgaard's in a little bit of trouble. I think there's a lot of pickup on that harder primary tire. McLaughlin looks in good shape as they exit, and there is a yellow right away.
Elio Castro-Neves, final turn.
And this is great news for the cars that pitted, not great news for the cars that stayed out.
Kyle Kirkwood should be in really good shape depending on how many laps this yellow is. Oh, this is going to help. He might have stopped. He did. Okay, that's huge. That is going to extend this yellow flag.
Yeah, Cameron, we saw it.
It really helps Kirkwood, Herta, Malukas, everybody that just pit, and this is not good for Lundgaard and McLaughlin.
Let's take a look at the replay. He was sideways.
Did he get some help?
Well, we had there that Kirkwood and Palou behind him. Did Palou brush the wall? Palou
yes, he did.
Lost a lot of positions as a result.
It's Kyle Kirkwood.
Something flapping around. Oh.
Green.
Ah.
That was bizarre.
Okay, that is a killer blow for Kirkwood, because it could very likely lead to a penalty for Kirkwood.
And here we go. McLaughlin stays out.
Oh, wow.
There you go. There's the variable. Right then and there.
So now you've got to take that set of alternates as far as possible. But Kevin, the leader, is in on this new strategy.
3 very different strategies. Lundgaard is going to be fine on fuel. The question, the Kirkwoods, if he doesn't get penalized, the Hertas, the Malukas, will they make it home if there's not another caution from 44? And then there's what Scott McLaughlin is doing. Very different. Lundgaard just barely beats out Pato O'Ward, Marcus Ericsson, and one of the Penske cars.
Good job from RLL. That was the pressure on moment that we talked about pre-race. And up against Arrow McLaren, they managed to keep Lundgaard in front of Ericsson as well with Chip Ganassi Racing, and Will Power with Team Penske. It got tight and feisty there on pit lane as Kirkwood continues to circulate in the lead under yellow. But what is McLaughlin going to do? Sorry, Kirkwood's not leading yet, but McLaughlin still is. How can he make this stretch potentially to the end, James? How much yellow are they counting on?
Here we go. It's a couple of Kiwis at the front. Green flag here for the Honda Indy Toronto. Do we go to the end? Is there more yellow? How's this going to play out? McLaughlin leads Dixon. Here comes Palou out of the inside of Colton Herta and gets that, makes that stick.
And Kirkwood has a bobble coming out of turn 1, and that allows Palou and Herta to go by as well. So Palou making big moves as they're 3 wide behind Christian Lundgaard. Under attack from Pato O'Ward, side by side. We're going 3 wide.
Look at this. O'Ward up the inside, 3 wide into turn 3. No! The green car of Lundgaard on the outside. Meanwhile, Kirkwood has a penalty, a stop and go for that collision with Helio Castroneves. Power on the inside of Ericsson. Craziness on this restart lap. This is awesome.
Look at Kirkwood. He knows. Oh, there's contact. Armstrong, concrete. Kirkwood on the outside, and Kirkwood has got to just be so frustrated right here. He knows what has fallen apart right before his eyes.
He's got to stop and go. There's no point in racing these guys to the point of damaging your car.
Think about this, guys. The pass that Alex Palou just made on Colton Herta could end up being the pass for the win of this race.
Yeah.
What could that do for Palou in the record books?
I just ran straight to the back of. Watch out, watch out, watch out. Get the front wing. I hit him straight on.
Kirkwood trying to give his guys instructions on the front wing. Meanwhile, the action on track, there's Will Power and Marcus Ericsson still going at it, and Lundgaard aggressively trying to work his way around Colton Herta. Here's the move.
There we go. We've seen it before. We saw Palou pull that move off of Romain Grosjean into turn 5. Not a traditional passing opportunity here in Toronto, but drivers making it work out there.
Marcus Ericsson, one of those who stopped during that most recent caution. He's in the mix along with O'Ward and Power. They're all on the same lap. Lundgaard's the best placed as far as the most recent stopper.
So if we don't get any more yellow, the top 3, let's say they have to pit, you're looking at 4th place. Alex Palou is essentially the leader on that strategy. Christian Lundgaard behind him. So it's kind of Palou versus Lundgaard on that strategy. A guy going for 4 in a row and a guy going for his first ever.
And you remember Palou was entangled in that moment with Helio Castroneves and brushed the wall. Here goes Marcus Ericsson. He's lining something up Lakeshore Drive. Look at him. Pops out on Will Power. Power will have the inside to turn 3. Power knows he's there. Makes it difficult. Close up front between McLaughlin and Dixon. VK 2.5 seconds further back. Here we go.
This is Palou with a damaged back of a race car for Alexander Rossi, who still sits a lap down. So if Rossi can hold off Palou, it's going to allow Lundgaard to re-enter the fray. Meanwhile, the Gamblers, McLaughlin and Dixon, they have 20 laps on this softer tire and 30 to go if they hope to make it. All they can do, James, is drive as fast as possible and try to open up the gap as much as they can if there's a green flag stop to make.
Yeah, a couple Kiwis named Scott throwing Hail Marys here, but they're going to need a ton of yellow and just a ton of help. You said it on the alternate as well. Going to be so difficult to make it work.
Salt in the wounds of Kyle Kirkwood. He's had to come back to pit lane. The team serviced the car or touched the car under that penalty
I was
stop.
going to say that as soon as they plugged in. I was going to say I didn't think you could touch the car during a penalty when they're talking about potentially changing that wing.
Hey,
but
talk about changing front wing. Sorry, Palou's front wing looks loose.
You're right, it does. From that contact, you can see the driver's right-hand side.
Tell us more, Kevin Lee, about Palou.
So when he qualified 15th yesterday, there was a bit of a sigh of relief from the paddock. Well, at least he's not going to win 4 in a row and 5 of 6, but he might be in position at this point. He was just told we need 3.85 fuel mileage. Oftentimes that's code, but if that's regular fuel mileage, that's doable. I think 38 is doable. He needs to go 39 and with some caution. Palou might be able to get home.
And damage to that wing is obviously going to affect the downforce on the front of the car. So sure, it's going to affect the handling. That's obvious. You're going to have more understeer, the front not working, but it's also going to affect braking. You don't have as much downforce pushing the front tires down. You're not going to be as effective on the brakes. So Palou very exposed right now with Scott McLaughlin from the lead. Goes into the pit lane on the top of your screen there.
Well, there's one of the answers about a guy called Scott from New Zealand. We'll answer the other one in a minute. Servicing the Gallagher Chevy. Now McLaughlin can race to the end.
Yeah, he's going to fall all the way back, though, to probably 16th or something here.
Just don't get why they didn't pit with Lundgaard.
I'm
He was
with you,
sitting
brother.
right with him.
I am with you.
Okay, everything we got here.
Everything we got for the final 24 laps. Palou and Lundgaard, championship leader, pole position winner, early race leader. They're wheel to wheel, and the Danish driver gets by the Spaniard.
Palou tried everything he could to break late, but like you said, that wing is compromised, and Palou was getting pretty squirrely. Meanwhile, Colton Herta, I think, is going to close pretty quickly on
Excellent
Alex
job.
Palou.
Let's get back on that number.
So he was given permission to burn a little extra fuel, burn some push to pass to get around Palou, but now he's in clean air. You hear the call from the pit stand. Let's get back to that number. We've still got to make it to the end here on fuel.
So Herta, we know, has less fuel to burn than Lundgaard, but behind Herta, Pato O'Ward in a similar fuel situation. Scott Dixon now on pit lane has to be wondering, why didn't we stop under caution? Where does he come out relative to McLaughlin? It won't really matter in terms of a great result. There comes McLaughlin out of the final corner. Dixon gonna slot into 14th.
So was able to leapfrog McLaughlin. Here we go. We get back to it. Herta, O'Ward, Power. You're talking about third, fourth, and fifth here on track. Let's go for a ride aboard the Verizon Chevy. Whoa, gotcha!
Good timing to go to that camera as he dives down the inside of turn 5 again.
Great heads-up move from Pato O'Ward. You saw him swerve at the last second when he was a little surprised, but he very definitely avoided any contact. Is now Marcus Ericsson trying to get around the Earl McLaren car.
Will Power is coming off just his third podium of the year. Made his first Firestone Fast 6. That's right. The king of qualifying in the history of IndyCar made his first Fast 6 yesterday. And here he is. He's trying to be on consecutive podiums as he surges towards the front. Now trying to bridge that gap to Colton Herta. Here's the race leader, Christian Lundgaard.
That's what you want when you're a leader. You look in your mirror on the straightaway, there is nothing back there.
Look at Ericsson shadowing Will Power. Power has to defend. Really great work.
Look who else is entering the party here, Hinch.
Scott Dixon on the back of that train. He came out 14th. He has worked his way up now to 7th. Very impressive. McLaughlin a little behind in 9th, but both of those drivers doing a decent job of clawing some of those spots back.
This could be a 5 or 6 car battle for P2 at the finish here. A lot can play out. Things always get crazy in situations like this in the closing laps on a street circuit. Marbles everywhere, wounded race cars.
And the rest of the field says, hang on a second. Alex Palou starts 15th, has a damaged race car, and extends his championship lead. Do me a favor.
Oh, it's getting really bad,
Oh, that
guys.
seam it's gone from 1/3 damage, the nose cone, to 2/3 split open. Hanging on by a thread is that front wing.
And if that gets stuck underneath his front tires at some point, that could be a huge, huge accident. You got to think right here at the end of the straightaway, that's the highest amount of pressure on that wing. But, oh, that is precarious looking. 3 laps to go. Is it going to make it?
Have we been remiss to say great job, Alex Palou? Because what he has been managing, he can't see it. He only knows what he feels through the wheel.
Or what he's feeling on his feet and his legs is that fresh Toronto breeze comes racing inside the nose cone at 180 miles an hour. I promise you, he feels that on his feet.
Absolutely, he does. He'll see that the end fence on the left-hand side is sticking up. That'll be in his field of view.
He's just got to hang on. 2 laps to go for Alex Palou. He's got a nice little gap on Colton Herta.
It looks further gone still.
Oh.
It is growing. It's almost being held on by the decals at this point. The vinyl.
The wrap.
Inside 2 laps to home. One more time.
He looks fast on the straightaway, like it's drag optimized on the straight. It might not corner well, but he is flying, probably using that push to pass he's been saving.
That's what Barry Wanzer just said. You've got it, you can use it. Newgarden takes a run at Marcus Ericsson as we get ever so close to seeing that white flag for Christian Lundgaard's final tour around here. Here he comes, past Toronto FC's headquarters, through past the pits.
I mean, look at the hands, steady, determined. It knows exactly the feel of this racetrack now after 85 laps.
One more to go, and Christian.
Oh, Will Powers in pit lane along with Marcus Ericsson.
What's happened? Maybe contact between the two.
No, Power was out of fuel, and others are trying to coast to the finish, including Herta. They didn't quite make it. Is Lundgaard going to make it?
Oh, boy. Final lap. Less than 1.8 miles.
Does Alex Palou still win this? If Christian Lundgaard runs out of fuel, I don't think they would let him pull out a 10-second gap if he didn't have this under control.
But for Power and Ericsson, that is a shocking surprise. Something went horribly wrong on projections.
Think about this big picture-wise. Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Bobby Rahal, the racing legend. Mike Lanigan, the business guru. And David Letterman, one of the most famous entertainers in all of television over the years. It's an eclectic trio that own this team, but boy, have they shown that they've got some resolve and determination at the hands of a 21-year-old driving the vivid Honda. Christian Lundgaard here in Toronto is an IndyCar race winner and brings this trio back.
More to come.
There's his best mate, Victor. He'd never been to an IndyCar race before, and he sees his best friend win. The championship leader extends, and Colton Herta gets his first podium of the year. Storming comeback by Dixon, and Newgarden top 5s, but it's all about Christian Lundgaard. This is the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag moment. Let's get amongst it all. Kevin Lee's there, Kev.
And it is going to be a challenge to get amongst it all because the celebration is going to get rolling. What a birthday week. It's just getting started. Next Sunday, Christian Lundgaard will turn 22. He's joked that it was nice of them to get Ed Sheeran to play at Iowa next weekend for his birthday celebration, but this has been coming. He's been on the pole, and he's going to greet everyone within the team, including one of the fellow drivers, Jack Harvey. He's won pole before. Now he has finished it off. How are you feeling right now? You are an IndyCar race winner.
I'm pretty drained from energy right now. No, the Hy-Vee Vivid car has just been fast all weekend, and I said it before the race, we had a car that was fast enough to win, and we pulled it off, and I think we did it by 10 seconds, so this team, they do deserve this, because if we look at where we were earlier this season, and even last year at this point, we were nowhere near this, so I'm just extremely happy for everybody right now.
You won the pole yesterday in mixed conditions, and frankly, other people wondered, maybe it's just because of that. Maybe it's only a 5th or 6th place car on pace. What does that mean to just beat everybody down today on pace to get that first win?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, whatever Bobby, Mike, and David is doing for this team and all the partners, I know that even, I mean, Randy and Hy-Vee, everything they're doing for this team, we're moving forward, and now we both get to get rid of a mustache.
Here is Victor Peterson, his friend. They came up with this little friendly wager in December. I'm not sure Victor knew it was still 4 months before the season started. Before the race, it was jokes about shaving, but now there's a lot of emotion.
Staying.
It's now staying.
Staying. No, he's staying here.
Oh, he's staying.
He stays.
You came to the Indy 500, but this was the first time he saw you qualify. He's a good luck charm, right?
Apparently. Yeah, you stay. I know you're going to Iowa, so stay after that.
When is the shaving process? Is it here in Victory Lane, podium? What are we doing?
I mean, I need to find a razor, but then yes, as soon as possible.
They're around, I know.
Cool.
I brought them.
Congratulations, Rahal Letterman Lanigan, a winner. Christian Lundgaard, the 21-year-old, is now an IndyCar winner.
Watch the Hy-Vee Homefront 250 Saturday, July 22nd at 3 p.m. on NBC.